Hey, this is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling, with Platinum versus AEW Dark. This is the Tuesday night show, and it appeared on March 16th, 2021. Okay, let me tell you something. Last night, they had the debut of AEW Dark Elevation, and it was 14 matches long in 2 hours. This one was 15 matches long, though it did come in under 2 hours. Still, 29 fucking matches and almost 4 hours of wrestling for their YouTube stuff. That's a lot, folks, and I must love you to continue to do this. I do enjoy it, but man, that's a lot of wrestling. That said, it was a very good edition of AEW Dark. As you know, you already know this, but if you don't, if you're a first-time listener, I grade on a 3-check system each one of the matches, most of which are squash matches, right? Or what we would call enhancement matches, or foregone conclusion matches is what I like to call them, where you know who's going to win well beforehand. And they get graded in this scale. If the person who's supposed to win wins in a dominant and memorable fashion, that is 1 check. If they look really good in the process, that's a 2nd check mark. And then a 3rd check mark you get if the person who loses the match does well in their loss, and or are given a significant amount of offense by the person who is beating them. All right, let's just jump into it. And of course, if there's a competitive match, of which there is at least one match that qualifies on this show, they get 1 check mark if they both do a good job with the match, if it's a solid, good match. A 2nd check mark if someone is put over in a fashion that is memorable, and a 3rd check mark if something is advanced that can be used on Dynamite, an aspect of a character, a new finisher, sort of cleaner technique, for example, or even an angle that can carry over onto the bigger, more important show. All right, let's jump into it. Luchasaurus against Cesar Bononi, the big guy of the team with him and Peter Avalon. It's good. Bononi looks pretty good. Luchasaurus does a good enough job covering him. Finally beats him with a standing moonsault. I'll go ahead and give this 3 check marks. I thought it was pretty good. Savannah Evans against Layla Hirsch. Layla Hirsch recently signed, so jobber no more. And sure enough, Layla Hirsch takes her apart, hits a running knee, and hits that flying armbar. Looks really good. Evans taps out. Evans does a pretty good job here. Layla Hirsch has been kind of spotty on the quality, but here, pretty good. And then Vicky Guerrero's there trading words with Hirsch. Guerrero's trash-talking her, though, and she blows it off, but gets right in her face. Okay, 3 check marks. John Silver against John Skyler. Skyler getting more offense here than he has in matches since his return from injury, and that's nice to see. But John Silver at the end of the day hits the Blue Thunder Bomb for the win. Good match, though. It's always great to see John Skyler. So 3 check marks here. Penelope Ford against Tesha Price. This is the best that Tesha Price has looked. Penelope Ford sometimes looks really good and sometimes looks very really sketchy, just like sometimes things just seem really choppy. This was a match that flowed pretty good, I think, because they had a pretty decent story to tell. That springboard cutter, which sometimes looks like ass, this time looks pretty good, and Penelope Ford gets the win. Fuego del Sol, Jane St. Patrick versus the Chaos Project, which is Luther and Serpentico. The usual Chaos Project magic. It's nice to see them not in the main event of AEW Dark losing. It's nice to see them actually doing their thing. It was nice to see Luther hit a Luther bomb as well. And they hit their finisher, the Creeping Death, for the win. Again, a really good job. But Jake St. Patrick tends to do a good job. And of course, Fuego del Sol is, he's a mainstay on Dark, so he does a very good job. So 3 check marks. Kylan King versus Jasmine Allure. Kylan King looks really good here. It's nice to see her pick up a win. Jasmine Allure definitely holds her own and looks really good here. Part of this crop of really young female wrestlers. And it's good that AEW is really thinking long-term here. It's good to see Kylan King get a win and do her thing. I really like Kylan King, as we all know. 3 check marks. Then we got Angel Fashion, Baron Black, who's one of my favorites. Ryzen, who always does a great job from Colorado, and Very Morales, who is hot stuff lately, man. Just really, really great. Against the Dark Order, in this case, Colt Cabana, Evil Uno, Alan Angels, aka number 5, and Stu Grayson. Really, really good. A number of like cataclysmic moves. Bam, 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 bam. Grayson hits Nightfall, setting up Cabana for the Billy Goat's Curse and the submission victory, which is an interesting way to go. Good job. 3 check marks. Are we going to have another? This would be the 5th episode of Dark that 3 check marked out. Let's see if they can do it. Adam Priest, David Ali, and Seth Gargis versus the Gun Club. Billy Gunn returns to team up with his sons. They've been kind of going by themselves as of late. Nothing too difficult here. The opposing team, it was nice to see the David Ali and the crew kind of jump them early to give this match a different kind of look. I appreciated that very much. And then Austin hit that quick draw move that I hate for the win. Nonetheless, I'll give this 3 check marks. We're rolling. It's a solid episode of Dark. We're not getting a lot of like vignettes and stuff like that, which is too bad. But they did a lot of that on Elevation last night. Bear Country against Brick Aldridge and Dean Alexander. And Bear Country win. And they win in a relatively quick match here. A lot of these matches were pretty fast. And you know what? I'm glad to see it. So good job. 3 check marks. Rolling on. Nick Koromoto is there with QT Marshall at his side against D3. D3 does a really good job here, making Koromoto look very formidable while getting in some moves, but just enough so Koromoto's power moves looked even better when he would cut him off. Great job. 3 check marks. A good tag match. Varsity Blondes showing signs of having better chemistry, not just in terms of ring work together, but just in terms of how they're relating to one another. They need to continue to work on that, however. But the Varsity Blondes here easily beating Jorel Nelson and Royce Isaac. Pillman's work is beginning to get less and less sloppy, which is good. And Pillman to me is always, Garrison is always to me very, very solid. And this is no exception. Hits that springboard clothesline for the win. Good job. 3 check marks. And then my favorite match on the card, honestly, was Maddie Renkowski against Vert Vixen. I thought they both looked really sensational here. And Renkowski, they're given a win with an axe kick. Another kick finisher, but, they have a lot of people. So Maddie Renkowski gets the win, and Vert Vixen, to me, looks really good here. Really good stuff. My favorite match, like I said, of the thing. Aaron Sorlo and Carly Bravo. Carly Bravo, who they're teaming up with different people lately. And that's good. It's kind of covering the fact that he's green, but he's got a great look and he's powerful. And Aaron Sorlo is, of course, an old pro against SCU, speaking of old pros, and they look good here. I think Daniels has looked better and better in recent weeks, and part of that's probably by design. It's this idea of Daniels as the weak link, but now he's kind of catching on a little better, and I think it's just knocking off ring rust and really getting in there and wrestling these good, solid matches. SCU hits the best Meltzer ever for the win. Nicely done. 3 check marks. I think we're going to check mark out on this one, folks, because we are here getting close to the end. We got Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss against Team Taz. I'll go ahead and call this a competitive match and grade it accordingly, even though we know Brian Cage and Ricky Starks are going to win. AEW does this really well. When a team suffers, or a wrestler, especially a heel, suffers a major loss, they tend to take them off the air for a little while and then bring them back with a couple of squash matches or competitive matches where they dominate, and that certainly qualifies in this match. Starks wins with the spear, but not before really Janela and Sonny Kiss get in a lot of their stuff. It looks really good. Janela does a good job bouncing off of Cage to make him look powerful, and Sonny Kiss goes in there and does his thing as well. Really good stuff. Really good match. 1 check mark for a good match overall. A second check mark for Brian Cage and Ricky Starks being put over. Especially Ricky Starks needed to get the pin himself since he's the one who had to lose to Sting. I thought that was smart. So second check mark. And then a third check mark because I believe that they're restoring Team Taz here to get them back on Dynamite. So everything worked out. We also had a little bit of drama with this one because Cage isn't pleased that Starks tagged himself in to get the win. Right? Taz trying to make them cool down. So let's see. But Janela's not pleased with Sunny Kiss either. But then Janela apologizes and they hug it out. So a couple of teases of tension. Not bad. Jack Evans against Preston Vance, number 10. I'll call this one competitive as well. And sure enough, they have a real good back and forth match. 10 locks in the full Nelson, and there's blood from the mouth and all this kind of great stuff, and Evans passes out, and 10 gets the win. I honestly didn't expect that, but 10 is -1's favorite, and they are definitely giving him a push. And this was a competitive match. So did they both look good? Absolutely. That's a check mark. Was 10 put over in convincing fashion? Yes. Knocking him out with that full Nelson looked brutal. And then, did they advance something that can be advanced on Dynamite? Yes. Yes, they did. The rise of 10 as rising into the mid-card to upper mid-card level. I would say that is definitely something else that they can do. Guess what? We 3 check-marked all night long. Excalibur hypes up Dynamite St. Patrick's Day Slam, and we're out on Dark. Great job. And a good, solid AEW Dark, but man, that's a lot of motherfucking wrestling and squash matches.